Hello everybody, welcome to Maximizing Your Womanhood Conference. My name is Amara.
And my name is Gospel.
This event is focused on empowering women, both single and married, to understand that marriage is not a limitation to maximizing their potential. The idea is to change the narrative and let women leverage on the platform of marriage to be the best that God has designed them to be. The event is for women and especially for the men who love them.
Yeah, so many women prepare for marriage all through their singlehood. And when they get into marriage, it's as if marriage has become a barrier that stops them from shining, from becoming successful, even at a global level, despite their capacity. You know, this event is geared towards changing that narrative to let women know that marriage is not actually a barrier. Marriage is a platform that allows them to become the best that God has created them to be.
There are many factors that contribute to this mindset. Factors such as culture, societal constructs, and the roles of women within and outside marriage. These factors have conditioned many women to see their potential from the prism of their marital status and gender.
Our idea is that marriage does not stop personal development. Marriage does not stop education, career development, and personal success in varied life endeavors. Consequently, we've designed this event to change that narrative, that even though you're married, it could be your stepping stone to becoming the best, the successful woman, the best that God has created you to be.
We have a couple of women who will share their thoughts on womanhood. I'm really looking forward to what they have to say. We have an exciting musical rendition from Tara, and we have a special guest, Detoun, Ogwo. And most importantly, those of you right now on this platform.
Please share the link with your friends and your family members or colleagues or whoever you think that would be interested in this event. You know, we are in a virtual world now. Just let them jump in wherever they are, even in the comfort of their home. They can join this event.
You can also comment, you can ask questions, and we would also love to hear your feedback. It is really important to us.
This event is packaged by Relationship Builders Forum. This is a platform where we discuss issues around love, sex, and relationship.
We're here to engage in conversation around issues relating to singles and married individuals. We also bring on board people of like mind to engage and enrich this conversation.
Please subscribe to our channel so that you'll be one of the first to know when we put out contents.
We would also love you to join our community. Be a member of our community to build on by clicking the join button. And we'd love to have you. If you love what we do and you want to support us, you can join our sponsorship category as well. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as I make welcome Tara, who is also known as Chimatara Ejugbo. To her, music is a universal language that needs not to be put in a box. She strongly believes that Jesus is at the center of her music and the whole world is her audience. With news of hopelessness, of war, hatred, and terror, she, through her music, spread the good news of hope, of peace, love, and unity. Her love for culture can also be felt in her music as she infuses her indigenous language with her lyrics. A veterinary doctor by the day, with music in her veins, she started music professionally in 2005, although she has been singing in the church since the age of 4. She has recorded 28 songs till date and she is still working on more songs. She also has performed on various live stages across Nigeria and in the United States of America. Born the 8th of 9 siblings and raised in Lagos, she hails from Ebonyi State in Nigeria by birth and Delta State by marriage. She currently lives in Lagos with her husband and 2 lovely daughters. She also co-produces the worship project with Shuzia and presently hosts a live show, Art of Worship, on Dukia Radio. Now, let's virtually welcome Tara to inspire us with her music.
Hello everyone, my name is Tara. It's such a privilege to be here with you on this program. I'm so honored to have been invited by the conveners of this program. Thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Amugo. I'll be singing 2 songs today. One is beautiful. It's a reminder of who you really are. You were not born a mistake. You were born with a purpose. You were born to fulfill purpose on the earth. And you have gifts and talents. Yeah? So no matter how far you fall, no matter how many mistakes you've made, you can get up, pick yourself up, and then start again. That brings me to the second song. It's titled My Way. You know, in that song, I mentioned having a new life, a new day, a new beginning. Everything will go your way. So every new day is an opportunity for you to start again. Don't be ashamed. There's no need to fear. Just keep moving and keep moving forward. Thank you. Hey, pretty lady, you tell yourself that you will never make it. You drown yourself in lies and your illusions. Don't you know that what you think is who you are, yay? Hey, pretty lady, you tell yourself that you're not beautiful. Who told you all those lies? They're just deceiving you. Don't you know that you can be all you've ever dreamed of, yay? God made you beautiful. He said it in His word that you were beautiful. You were going places that you never dreamed. Said that you're the first, not the last. So don't believe those lies and those illusions. They're lies and just illusions. Hey, young girl, I see through your eyes and I can tell you the way you see yourself is how I feel you. Don't you know the stuff of what you're made of? Oh, yay. Everybody listening, as long as you're breathing, yes, you have hope. And if you're down, the only way is up. Don't you know that heels down needs fear no fall? Oh, God made you beautiful. He said it in His word that you were beautiful. You were going places that you never dreamed. Said that you're the first, not the last, the head, not the tail. God made you beautiful. He said it in His word that you were beautiful. You're beautiful. You were going places that you never dreamed. Said that you're the first, not the last. So don't believe those lies and those illusions. They're lies and just illusions. Hey, 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 don't believe those lies and those illusions. Don't you know that you are better, bigger and better than that? I'll sing it one more time, yay. Don't believe those lies and those illusions. Don't you know that you are better, bigger and better than that? God made you beautiful. He said it in His word that you are beautiful. You go in places that you never dreamed. Said that you're the first, not the last. So don't believe those lies and those illusions. They're lies and just illusions. You're beautiful, you're beautiful. God made you beautiful. You're beautiful, you're beautiful.
I am a woman. I'm the feminine expression of God's beautiful creation, swiftly crafted with elegance and candor. I am a woman, empowered with a capacity to handle life pressure, with inner tenacity that does not cave when stretched by challenging circumstances.
I am a woman. I love being a woman. Being a woman means different things to different people. Well, to me, a woman is invaluable. Creation was not complete until she came along. A woman is a formidable ally. She sticks with you, you're sure to win.
I am a woman who has mastered her thoughts to know that I'm in control of whose opinions are important. I know that I'm a person of value, specially crafted for purpose.
I am a woman. I am resilient. I am a force. I am determined. There is no force equal to that of a determined woman.
I am a woman, and I believe that you should do what you feel in your heart to be right. For you'll be criticized anyway. You'll be damned if you do, and damned if you don't.
I am woman. I am love. I am power. I am kind. I am wise. I am meek. I have the unique ability to do a million things at the same time and get a million excellent results.
I am a woman, and I believe as women, we should always take it on ourselves to be on a lifelong learning journey. We should never be satisfied with where we are. We should never limit ourselves because we are a mother or wife or whatever status you have.
I am a woman. The woman is strong, resilient, and powerful. The question isn't who is going to let her. The question is who is going to stop her. I win, you win, we all win, always.
I am a woman, unique, dynamic, courageous, resilient, and endowed with many capabilities.
I am great. I am accepted, beautiful, bold, creative, and I'm super courageous. I am phenomenal. I am epic. I am that woman that understands her scars. I am that woman loved and kept by God. I am the woman that nothing good dies in her hands. And I'm that woman that anything that dies, that comes around her, gets back to life.
I am woman, an embodiment of strength, to wield womanhood, to wield motherhood, wifehood, to hold a home front, yet skillful in her trade and sphere of influence. I am woman.
I am a woman. I am complete. I am whole. Womanhood is not a curse, it is a blessing. Being a woman is not a disadvantage. As women, we can aspire and be anything we want to be.
I'm a woman. I'm focused.
I'm inspired. I'm determined to be the best I could be in 2021, especially knowing fully well that we lost so much in 2020. We lost time, we lost so much.
Superwoman is not a thing, but a special human being who can do everything because she has something worth to give and offer for others. When she is there, nothing to be bothered. Doing multiple tasks, even without effort to ask. Her special power is simple, that is to create. Out of the box idea is easy for her to generate.
I am a woman, naturally endued with the ability to love and care for the young and old, built with a heart to love the unlovable children and unlovable adults.
A woman is a visionary being. She sees the future before it becomes tangible. I love being a woman. Celebrate being a woman. Accept it. Own it. I am Chidi Akuna. I am a woman.
My name is Emanuela Omachi, and I'm also known as the Third Doctor.
I am phenomenal. I am a mother. I am a Daisy.
I am woman, and I am proud to be God's special.
We should always strive to know more, be more, and do more. And you can only do that if you have a lifestyle of continuous learning, growth, and development. Go and learn some more. Thank you.
Each day brings its own challenge, but I am determined to work assiduously to reach my full potential, for I am highly favored.
I am that woman that God loves so much and trusts so much to the point that He gives her ideas, raw materials, so that she can bring out the best in them. I am phenomenal. I am that woman. I am dangerous to the devil. I am fire-branded. Nothing dies in my hands, and I'm soaring higher and higher and higher. You are also that great woman, if you believe.
We shouldn't allow labels that society or culture put on us. With the many hats we wear, we can excel in all that we do without losing our individuality. Shine on, woman. The world is waiting.
And I want to make sure I give my best this year. But before I could do that, I have to take good care of myself. I have to give myself self-love. And I'm encouraging you to do the same. My name is Chinememo Meseka. Thank you for watching.
I am a woman. I am not limited by human, societal, or institutional barriers that attempt to define how much I can be or achieve. There is no limits or boundaries to my expression of the innate abilities I am divinely fashioned with. I am a woman. I am graced.
I am resilient.
I am blessed.
I am kind.
I am phenomenal.
I am rich.
I'm focused.
I am a force.
I am loved.
I am power.
I am win.
I am unstoppable.
I love being a woman.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our speaker for today, Detoun Ogwo. Detoun Ogwo is a development and human resource practitioner, passionate about making a difference in the skills and youth employment sector. She is an Ashoka Fellow with a 20-year career spanning through firms such as Diageo, British Airways, Stanbic IBTC, T-Mobile, and Halifax Bank PLC. She sits on the board of the Skills Development Practice, the Abira Foundation, and was pioneer ED and co-founder of a National Career Center, AGDC. She is a Fortune 10K Women mentee and a 2-time nominee for the Schwab Foundation Social Entrepreneur of the Year Award, Africa. Detoun holds a degree in biochemistry from the University of Lagos, several certifications on effective youth employment policies and programs, including a master's in development from the ILO International Training Center of the United States. She is a doctoral researcher at the University College London's Institute of Education and currently an external collaborator on the International Labour Organization's mapping process of Nigerians' National Youth Employment Inventory. Along strategic action lines of the 4 E's: employment, entrepreneurship, employability, equality, and rights. She consults on the International Labour Organization's mapping process aimed at developing Nigerians' National Youth Employment Inventory. A key outcome of this project is to enhance the capacity of youth and youth employment stakeholders in Nigeria for participatory implementation and monitoring of the Nigerian Youth Employment Action Plan, NEYIP, along the strategic action lines as earlier mentioned. Detoun is married to Amechi, an architect, and they are blessed with children. Ladies and gentlemen, join me and virtually welcome our guest speaker for today, Detoun.
Wow, thank you very much. That was quite an introduction. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, Mr. Gospel and Mrs. Amara, or Doctors Amara. Thank you very, very much. I'm trying to see if I can hear you. Can you hear me? Looks like I'm waiting for my host.
Yes, we can. We can hear
Okay,
you.
I can hear you now. Thank you very much, and well done, well done. That was really, really inspiring. Just listening to everyone, and the music was fantastic. The intros were fantastic, and I just appreciate the fact that I'm here to share as much as I can. I've recently lost my brother-in-law, so I will do my best to share. It looks like technology is getting in the way.
We're right here.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so thank you very much for having me. I think that I'm waiting for your cue. Okay, so do you want me to dive into it?
Yes, you've got your 20 minutes now, so you have the floor for 20 minutes, and then we have a Q&A.
Thank you very much. I can't see my audience, but I'd like to welcome everyone, and it's such a pleasure to be here. I think that everyone that's spoken already has really set a fantastic tone for the few points I was going to share. You wanted us to talk about, maximizing our womanhood, and I just want to commend the wonderful work that you're doing. Very inspiring, very timely, and you're such an amazing couple. I was watching you on the backstage, and I was really inspired. My husband is actually right behind me, just sitting to my right. So I celebrate. I thank God for the gift of marriage, the gift of having a partner to do life with. I think that the premise is that God has endowed all of us, men with authority, women with influence, so that we can, fulfill and advance, God's agenda on the earth. And as traditional as that institution is, and as sometimes the contemporary world that we live in tries to challenge that institution, I believe that it's still very necessary. Um, Partnership on anything, as they say, two heads are better than one. As my mother would say, two good heads are better than one. So I celebrate the institution of marriage. I thank God for the institution of marriage. I'm really blessed to have the husband that I have, Mr. Ogwo. And what I just wanted to talk about maximizing our womanhood, is, and I love that everyone that's spoken already has talked about the power of womanhood, the blessedness of womanhood. And if you talked about, how, what it is that stands us out as women, a lot of times, we either reduce it to, our sexuality, our curvature, our beauty, our anatomical attributes, so to say, whether it is even our intelligence. But the truth about the matter is that we have been placed on the earth for deliberate assignments, and I like that someone said that earlier on. We've been placed on the earth to influence. We're very powerful beings. We might not be as strong as men in terms of physical strength or even emotional stamina, but we possess the power. And I think that what allows us to maximize our womanhood is the owning of that power, the recognition of that power, the coming very early into your own power. You don't want to be like the other woman. You want to be phenomenally you. Let me not bite my tongue. But I think that there's, as I said to Mogo, the gospel yesterday, beg your pardon. I just wanted to keep this real. I really can't wait for us to actually dive into the question and answer so we can keep it real. It's a blessing to be a wife. It's a blessing to be a mother. It's a blessing to be a woman. Whether in our, there's a space for appreciating our singlehood. There's a place for just appreciating the fact that we are endowed as enablers. But I think that if there was anything that I wanted to share in the little time that I have, on hindsight, and having worked in the youth employment space, is that a lot of times we allow cultural barriers to hold us from maximizing our womanhood. Sometimes I've run employment sessions where it's competitive. We put both men and women across a boardroom table, and we give them an equal playing field. And the women don't say anything. So sometimes I ask the men to leave the room, and I ask the women, were you aware this was a competition? And were you aware it's the person that puts the best foot forward that gets the opportunity? And then, why didn't you say anything? And then they say, oh, but the men were speaking. So I think that it's fundamental for us, and I'm glad that we're doing this, a platform like this, to begin to even cascade down to our young girls. You owe it to your world to find yourself. We talk about self-development a lot, we talk about self-discovery a lot, but I think that is the link, that is the compass that you need to do life. You must find your own place, you must find your own assignment. The institution of marriage is then to find a co-traveler that both of you will then birth, enable each other, support each other, and have co-travelers, and be co-travelers as you do life. So I think it's important that all of us take away the fact that we're all born to win. But for us to win, we must plan to win. We must prepare to win, and we must expect to win. I've been part of a lot of women, groups and associations in Nigeria, and I love the fact that we are beginning to take a place. We're beginning to bring that gender balance. I love that somebody talked earlier on about the fact that we're multitaskers. We can do a million things. And I recognize in Kuruka, I think she was one of our alumni at AG Distance. So I was very happy and very proud to see how really, with that energy, where a woman could do a million things and get a million things done. Because that is how we're endowed. I have a senior colleague that would say men are the head, but women are the neck. So in maximizing our potential, in maximizing our womanhood, I think it's important for us to also understand the context anywhere that you find yourself. You must understand the context in which you're operating. And I want to say the name of the game in that context where you're operating. So we don't live in a vacuum. We don't live in a world where there are no values, or where there are no incentives or factors that guide wherever we find ourselves. So if I was going to, when I was preparing for this, I was telling myself, if I was going to share something, what would I would, I would say that it's the same thing I would say to my younger self. Don't apologize for who you are. Don't apologize for your dreams. Don't apologize for the journey that you have been on so far. It is all of that that culminates in the gift that you are to the world. It is all of that that culminates into the difference that you're going to make in the world. As I said, I've recently lost my brother-in-law, Ogwo, and it's a very difficult time for our family. But I also realized that some of the troubles that we go through in life, we go through those so that we can also be a comfort to other people when they're going through what they're going through. So in maximizing our womanhood, we must understand, and very early on our life journey, we must very early find who you are. Find what my son calls your creative eminence. Recently, I had to speak somewhere, and I gave my son the assignment, my 18-year-old, the assignment of supporting me with developing some of the content. And I was so proud when he said, as human beings, we must find what we call our own creative eminence. That is that part of us, that core. What I find missing in the education system in Nigeria is that we have reduced productivity, we have reduced potential to pieces of paper, to credentials. And those are just signals of what we can do. What we must own as women is, the value that what makes us value creators. I hope I'm not rambling, but, I'm trying to pack a lot into the little time I have. But to do justice to the topic on maximizing your womanhood, I think it starts from identifying who you are, identifying the gift that you carry, identifying the talent, your core competence, what it is that that the world needs. The world would always be in trouble. The world would always be in a state of chaos. That is just the premise. That is the operating system of the earth that was dictated to us, from the Garden of Eden. So there would always be something, there would always be a problem to solve. And the gift that we have, the onus is on us to find that thing that is on the inside of us that the Almighty has said. I think somebody said earlier on as well, that we're all being gifted, we're all being talented. What our education system needs to evolve to doing more of is helping young people to learn how to become very early. What we do is with credential, with certificate, but we have to start coming to that place where, it's fundamental and it's important to find your true north, to find that thing that stands you out, and it's something that you have to do sometimes by yourself. It's a discovery process that you have to, and thank you, Tara, and I didn't know you were there, but, I was really blown away by your talent. I was really blown away by your message. You said it all. You can't, remember when you were singing, I was saying, this is the core of my message. You really have, done justice to the gift that we are to the world, and the assignment of what we bring to the world. It starts within. It starts on the inside. What I found from my HR experience is that we wait until an employer validates us. We have this appointment mentality. It is only when somebody is able to, on the premise of 2 pieces of paper, a degree, and an NYC certificate, it's only when a person is able to certify me that I'm able to contribute. And there's nothing further from that line. I say to my kids, with or without a certificate, you will get the certificate because education is the baseline. But there's already something on the inside of you that you can contribute to the world. There's something that you can bring to the world that you were born with. And what an education system should do is refine that very, very early on. What an education system should do is wake that up very, very early on. And I say it at any interview. Someone sits across me, I say to them, beyond these 2 pieces of paper that you've shown me, what can you do? What difference can you bring? Because we want you to bring your difference to work. It is you who you were going to work with. So don't hear me wrong. I'm working on a doctorate because I believe in education. I believe in getting to the height of learning. Because I love that somebody said earlier on that we live in a world of continuous learning. We live in a world where we cannot stop learning. We live in a world where life is a continuous improvement journey. And what makes us maximize our womanhood is staying committed to the best version of ourselves on the days we feel like it and the days we don't feel like it. Because as human beings, one of the things I'm aware of is that we're going to be work in progress until the day we exit planet Earth. A dear colleague, Emilia Asumita, who used to work with me, also in AGGC, passed on this week. And, you know, as painful as a transition is, the fact that she was a doer, the fact that she was so driven, the fact that she was so passionate, you know, immediately I heard the news, even before the sad exit, and engaging with, you know, we're on the board together and speaking to Musu, who were on the board together, you know, the everything that her contribution, you know, the fact that when there's a task to do, the things that we had done together. I mean, I remember she hosted one of the first stakeholder audiences I'd ever done. Those were the things that, you know, that make for her legacy. So it occurred to me that, you know, at the end of the day, as we always say, some of the things I'm saying are principles that are common and we all know about. You know, at the end of the day, we're also with the sum total of our choices, the choices that we make on a day-to-day basis. Are there days that we're not going to feel? I think we're going to feel down and out. You know, yes. Are there days that we're going to think? You know, I had a former president say to me, "Well, I was wasting my time in the youth, you know, development space." But I also understand that some of the things that we become, some of the things that we do, the things that we bring into the labor market or bring into the economy, must be honed and discovered at the level of our identity, the identity of who we are in God. Amara said it, you know, we're made in the image of God, we're beautiful, we're head and we're not the tail. So those things sometimes we just have to keep reinforcing. So our belief system is also fundamental to who we become. What we tell ourselves, your self-talk, what it is that you're reinforcing to yourself, you know, on a daily basis, what it is. I have 3 more minutes. But I hope that, you know, just dumping it and putting it on the table, everything I've said, you know, one way or the other, you know, speaks to you. But the core of my message is that in life you need a compass. And that compass can be found in the blueprint of who you are in the Word of God. And also, one of the things that I find that our education system does not do very early is that career discovery, that self-discovery, sometimes at a psychological level. And I'll tell a very quick story. Many years ago, I was unemployed and down and out and upset because I was writing letters and I was getting a lot of rejection letters. But I was writing the letters like I was in a Nigerian context. Meanwhile, I was in the UK. So one day I got really angry and thought, you know what, I really need to figure out why I'm writing the letters the way I've been taught in Nigeria, but I'm not getting the kind of response I want. So I bought a book and then I walked into a career center. When I got into the career center, a counselor sat with me. And for the first time in my adult life, despite the fact that I graduated from a Nigerian university, somebody sat with me and spoke to me at the level of who I am, what I carry, what I can do. I remember doing what you call a career psychometric test. You know, I would, you know, check you at the level of your interest, check you at the level of, you know, your competencies at an innate level. From that point on, it was almost as though a light bulb came on. It was deliverance for me. I remember walking out of that career center connections and saying, "This is it." For the first time, I had done jam had jammed me. I studied biochemistry. You know, so my journey was a bit of a you know, was wandering for a while until I sat with a counselor. And I remember walking out of that career center and saying, one day I'm going to do this in my country. Because it was a light bulb for me. And from that point, somebody gave me a compass on how to navigate. They gave me 3 career options. They talked to me at the level of, you know, at the level of who I am, who Detoun is. We all have different personality types. We all have different competencies. My husband is very quiet, very conservative, but his strength is, you know, he's the one that holds us together. It's very structured. I'm a socializer, you know, you see me out there and, you know, but for the noise that I make, the capacity, the power that he and the knowledge and the intensity that he brings makes us a good match. Just to buttress the fact that, you know, even in our journey to discovery, we must discover who we are and by God's grace also discover who are best fit for life, to do life, you know, also is. I hope that I haven't just dumped it all and I made some sense, because I know that I think I've done the number of minutes I'm supposed to do. And then I wanted to also just go into the question and answer so that we can keep it real. Because I'm sure that most of what I've said are principles that we're aware of. We're in a time where there's so much information on the internet, we can find, you know, so much to study and keep learning and just developing ourselves. And thanks again for having me.
Wow, thank you so very much. That was a very amazing, will I say, expository that you have actually laid down the foundation. But we have a couple of questions, because I believe that questions will help to tease out more and also enrich the conversation today. What is the secret of your ability? Because I know you're a woman of many colors, you're a woman of many shades. So what is your secret to your ability to handle so many responsibilities in your career, personal, and family life, and you still have time to continue your education?
Okay, thank you. To be honest, when I would sound spiritual, and then I'll make it real. Um, I would say that there's that God factor first, that secret place where you're able to always draw strength when you're able to feel empty. That place of endowment, that place of wisdom, where we meet with God. But the honest truth is, I thank God for my family. I remember, I think it was Dr. Mabala Johnson that said at a conference once, and it really resonated when we were discussing work-life balance. That family comes first, and everything else comes together. So I'm really grateful for the spouse that I have. I have a support system, to be honest. I have a support system. I have a husband that is hands-on. I don't take it for granted. All of us. I've also outlined my roles. I don't take my roles for granted. I do what I can. I lean on my spouse. And I thank God for my late mother-in-law, Mrs. Ogwo, my mother, who's still alive. They were able to give me the support that I needed. And there are times that you just want to run away, but being able to assign roles. And I must give one secret. It just came to my mind now. For those of us who are already married, at the level of seeking for domestics, to be honest, I did it on my knees. I looked for domestics on my knees. I prayed. It was important for me to find somebody that when I'm away, and then having a process. So I have a process in the house. I have way things are done. And then, to be honest, one thing that I know is not contemporary, all my kids, and I thank my mother-in-law for that, my husband for that, they're domesticated. One of them is boiling the rice for breakfast tonight. So being able to delegate, being able to, assign roles and realize, as my best friend said, I shared this with her, and I also shared this with a very good friend, Bukola Hassan. So, Bucky has been very pardon. And the ability to delegate, the ability to let go. When sometimes I could be a perfectionist. That's it. I have the way I want things, how it's done. But I've also, over the years, I've learned to let go. It might not be the way I want, it might not be perfect, but being able to, allow others to help us out. It might not do it the way you want, but the efforts might not be perfect. But also coming back to validate those people, to recognize those people, to understand that there's a missing link, and that if they're not doing what they're doing, you are not able to go out there to do what you do. I've had a domestic for many years called Glory. She was with almost 15 years. And I had to ease her out because I didn't want the kids to get, too used to not also being domesticated. So one secret is, in that secret place, find the people that will be your co-travelers. The domestic end is very key. My driver has been with me for 10 years. We'll be with me for 10 years next month. So also how we treat the people around us, how we, how they let them see our humanity, know our humanity. Other days I shout at my driver. I still shouted at him on Friday, but he knows that he knows that I see him as a human being, and I don't exploit his status in life. It's sometimes the people that we're dealing with, they got where they were by the failing of our system. Our system still is broken. There are many broken areas in our system in Nigeria. So as we all go out and as we're all striving to make our country better, we must see ourselves and recognize ourselves. So I hope I haven't exhausted, that.
No, I just wanted to ask. I just wanted to ask because you thinking about people in diaspora, because you touched on the fact that you have a lot of help support system. But people in diaspora might be saying, "Oh, we don't have the opportunity to have."
I've lived in diaspora. Funny enough, my first child was born, and I was, she went to, for her, I remember I had to potty train her very fast because the option of not potty training her very fast was that I would have to pay. So I'm mindful of the fact that childcare can also be, and I've had in-laws who have had domestics in the proper arrangement for the embassy here. But of course, I know that those things can be. So I understand the need to speak to the audience, and it still goes to planning. It still goes to how we plan ourselves. It still goes to how we organize. The good thing about the world right now is that we're not limited to working in the first, in between the four walls of a university. So I might not have a one size fits all answer, but the biggest thing that we should start, the biggest way to answer that question is start from where I am, where am I, and where am I trying to get to, and what's the kind of help that I'm going to need to make that journey. So if I'm running a doctorate in the UK, for example, at this time, and I have 4 children with me, living with me, my options might be based on their age. Can they work? Can they intern? Because we have bills to pay. We have our reality to face. What are the legitimate ways that we can make income so that we can cover a standard of life that, we can meet our bills, we can. So it still goes to, it's one of the things that I love. Both of you have done a doctorate or worked on a doctorate. It's that there's a methodology for life. There's a methodology for marriage. There's a methodology for how you're bringing up your children. Methodology for how you want your home to run. So you have a 2-bedroom, you have a 3-bedroom, you have a mansion. There's a way that you're going to keep it clean. There's a way that you're going to feed people. So looking for those touch points, and then realizing as a woman, you're the homemaker, and then looking for help. I have a young mentee, I'm not sure if she's watching, who lives in the UK. And I remember she told me one day the breakthrough for her was that she was doing everything from morning to night. And then her husband would come back and buy her very beautiful presents. And she had to sit down one day and say, okay, my love language is to come into the kitchen with me and help me wash the dishes. I don't want diamonds. I don't want. I said, so I said, well, different strokes for different folks. Yeah, I want the diamonds, but it means that I'm going to be working in the kitchen for longer. How do I manage? It's life management. It's how we manage ourselves. And to be honest, there's no ideal answer. That's the truth. It's to find what works for your reality, but without losing sight of the fact that the world needs you. And, as I said, there are broken systems in this nation. And you find your calling in, identifying, for me, it's like a triangle. So there's God, there's you, and there's a system that definitely needs your hand, that definitely needs you to contribute towards it. The truth about the matter is that I learned during a class yesterday, that in Nigeria we have farmers and we have hunters. There are more hunters than there are farmers. So so there are more. What is the farm? Being able to cultivate something, being able to put things together, saying that there's a need in a place, and what we need is more systemic farming to grow the kind of system that so to grow the kind of system that will work. You can't. My sister-in-law, and I'll give a very practical example. My sister-in-law had about 3 domestics when they were living in the UK, and I remember I used to say to her, I used to even tease her and say, the way go and do this, go and do that, bring this, bring that, this person will run away. Because there's a way that you work with human beings. Okay, then maybe that's one thing I didn't say during my class. We have to understand human psychology. There's a way human beings are wired. Nobody is against us principally. People are for themselves. Mm-hmm. So once you understand that, I bring somebody into my home to come and support me. Or, okay, let me use the UK context. I want to work. It's a place where I'm going to pay a lot of tax. I have children, or I might not have children. How do I organize myself? It's really it's a life. Maybe think about it now. I didn't think about it. Maybe life is also a research project of its own. Bringing all the pieces together and making sure that you're finding at the end meets the blueprint of the one who placed you here. But doing everything you can on a day-to-day basis, on a conscious basis. Sometimes, and there are days that I just say, God, I'm done, and I just want to escape somewhere and just forget about all of this. Yes. But we also then remember that there's a reason why we're doing this.
Wow. Amazing. I like the fact that you are very practical, what you're saying. Now, for our audience watching right now, I just want to, encourage you to share this link with your friends and people who might find a lot of value in this, because I feel that there's a whole lot of education that we're having right now. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I also want to say, if you're listening to us and you have a burning question you want guest to answer, you can put down that question in the comment section. We would ask her the question, and I'm sure she will be happy to do that. As a man, I would say that if you ask men, they will tell you that the problem with women not maximizing their potential doesn't have to do with their husbands. That's what some men will say. But I would ask you straight ahead as a man. What do you think? Yes. I am a man. I'm asking for the men. No, she's not a woman.
Okay.
What do you think?
My husband is I just stood up.
I know. So what do you think are the barriers that limit women from maximizing their capabilities or their potentials?
Oh, because that's a whole thesis. But I'm so touching base with my friends. I wrote, identity. I've worked in recruitment. I see volumes. I see millions of. I mean, I'm sure my HR career I've met with millions of young people, and that disenablement that the system puts on us that reduces who we are, what we carry, the wonderful things that we can do to pieces of paper. So it still goes to know your context, know your country, know how things run in that, know the reality of your reality. But and place your identity within that reality. I hope for who you are, what you're good at. I think self-knowledge is very key. Who I am, what my limitations are, what my strengths are. Once I'm armed with that, it's like wanting to go to God and then having my compass, having my Google map, being clear on what I can contribute. Once I know that, the barriers a lot of times are sometimes artificial. Sometimes they're in our minds. Sometimes they're in company. You want to be somebody else. You're not committed enough to your own goals. You're looking up and down. You're trying to be. The people that we want to become. I've been blessed with wonderful mentors. I'm blessed with wonderful mentors. But I realized that the reason why we got close was because I was able to identify that they were work in progress and there was still something they wanted to do on the earth, and they still also needed support. So sometimes those barriers we place on ourselves are trying to do it all, trying to do what other people are doing. You have to own your own compass. You have to determine your own priority. You have to focus on your own focus. And sometimes those barriers, as my friend Modupe Afolabi said, is lack of self-confidence, limiting yourself to fit in the societal ideas of what people want to see in you. People must be like this. Then what do you want? Who are you becoming? What have you found out about yourself in your own secret chamber? And that is your gift. That is your strength. And and of course, whatever you're hedging for your limitations, the things that you're not so good at. But we focus a lot of times, we take our eyes away a lot of times from what we're good at, what our strengths are, because we're trying to fit into some narrative, sometimes that is even the value system and the environment that we are. So sometimes I'm not very strong on social media because of research. A lot of time I'm spending on my research, but when the time is right, I also know that it's an enabler. But high value activities for me right now is studying, is learning, is understanding the blueprint of how things run. If a system is going to be optimal at skilling its workforce, at developing the competencies of its young people, who has done research on it? Those are the things that are occupying my time at this time. So I say that to say barriers sometimes is the way we use our time and the premium we place on our time, and not wanting to the best thing we can do in life is to be the best version of ourselves. Those barriers is looking for validation where it doesn't exist, or we must be ambitious. Or you see an ambitious woman somewhere, they are hitting their own goals, they're meeting their own ambitions. They have set goals for themselves. So sometimes you have to ask yourself, what are my limiting beliefs? I mean, looking at those limiting beliefs, are they things that society culture has passed on to me? My husband didn't make any particular demand. I think the best demand and also being able to communicate with people that we engage with. The teams that when I work with teams, I sit on the floor with them and say, what are the two things that are good about you as you're working with me as your leader? And what is one place for improvement? And they say, when somebody does their work well, they become your favorite. So that's part of also learning about ourselves, being open to learn about ourselves, because we have blind sides, we have blind spots, we don't know it all, and being humble enough to know we don't know it all.
Wow, amazing.
I hope that answered your question, though. I'm not sure if it
amazing. I mean, spot on, because I like the fact that you said, ask yourself, what are your limiting beliefs? Because sometimes we put a cap on ourselves. We are actually our own problem. So the fact that, try to identify your blind spots and work on them. Now, another question I want to ask you, because this came in from one of our audience. They said,
you asked that one there right away.
Which one?
Tara is asking a question.
Okay,
Tara asked a question. I was going to say, yeah.
Did this
Tara
work?
asked the
Yes.
question.
Yeah, that was.
Yes. So I will just put it on the
Oh, yeah.
screen now so you can
Okay,
see
yeah.
it.
Tara, the name I give myself is Phoenix. I call myself a Phoenix. And the time I was down and out, actually had to do with business. You know, I went into business with a farming mentality. Let me put it that way. And I put a lot into, you know, but on hindsight, what would I do differently? I think, you know, is the turning point for me was looking at a situation, seeing that there was, I came from a HR, I mean, Amara, you're in HR. So, you know, sitting across interviews, I was actually recruited from the UK and I came into a particular role. And I noticed that young people were just not putting their best foot forward. I didn't understand why, you know, somebody would say, hire me because I'm a graduate, but on the competencies that those Eurocentric standards have, you know, a volume. People were doing, of course, some were doing very well, but a volume were not able to scale, and it became a burden for me. So the burnout point came for me when I took a position where, so I went out and I started some social thing. But the more I did that, the more I realized that I got to burnout point because opportunity cost had left a fantastic career. I was trying to intervene, and everywhere that I went to, especially within the public space, I wasn't encouraged. I was almost like, why are you bothering yourself? Are they your children? You know, what is your business? So I got to a point where I felt those who should be passionate or those who should be vested, those who should not sleep, you know, who should find it out of the ordinary when things are not right, you know, where we're wondering what's your own. So burnout came for me at the level of systemic apathy. What did I do? I went away for a while. I just took my bags, and that was what actually led me to going back to study. Because I then asked myself, maybe when I when I was driven by passion, maybe I should also have done some homework that was hinged in reality. Where do I want to intervene? What would it cost? How long would it take? So on hindsight, at the point where I did what I did, maybe I should have gone to partner with the university as opposed to doing a private intervention. Because the more I did that, the more, I'll give you a practical example. Sometimes we needed 70 people. Maybe we had funding for just 70 young people. And we're getting 9,000 applications. And the truth about the matter is the 9,000 person is the one that needs intervention. But I still have to bring out the fit 70. So it created a bit of a discussion for me at the level of, you know, at the level of what is the best use of my time? How can I help the most numbers of people? Because sometimes you look at time and you ask yourself, this time I'm using to do two things. Can I still use the same tool? Thank God for technology now. You know, this same 1 hour I'm using to help two people, if it was amplified, can you reach 20,000 people? Because in life, when we get to our funeral, we won't get there. When, you know, what is going to be discussed is what we did with time. Am I correct? You know, I'm sure in HR you see people say, write and do an interview. Write a piece of paper at your funeral and you're looking back. But is this time that we have, is the value that we're making from this time that we have, that will culminate in that, you know, experience for those who live with our children and the people that are younger than us, by God's grace, when we're gray and old and all of that. Just to buttress the fact that so to answer Amara's question is on a daily basis and having very frank conversations with God. At some point about Nigeria, I had to go and tell God, I had to go and read the logic of God and the problem of evil and God, because I had come face to face with a lot. And it was important for me to have a frank conversation with God. So having very frank conversations, putting God in the dock sometimes has helped me, you know. Maureen! Maureen is here. Thank you. And I actually just thought about it, funny enough, not long ago, you know, because that's one person that carries even bigger passion than I have, and I really celebrate you, Maureen. You know, I remember the first day that I met. I remember the first conversation we had. Funny enough, while I was watching the people talking about women, Maureen came to my mind. She did. You know, she came to my mind. You know,
Wow.
So those are the people that make all of this worthwhile. So I hope, Tara, I answered your question. But being able to And I think that I must confess, on the days that, even when I was in that trough, or when I was in that, that reality, on the days I said I can't do this, I'm not doing this anymore, I just get a message out of the blue. Almost, I thought at the point in time I said, God, you're trying to set me up here. I will get a message from someone that says, I just wanted to say thank you. I'm now in so place. And that pay off. Money you can put money to it. You know? So even Chidi's message now has also given me a bit more energy. Because you can't put money to that. That itself has its own reward. The only challenge is that we live in a reality where you can't take that to the market. You can't take that. We live in an environment that is very economically volatile. So you have to have sense, in planning all of these things.
Great. We have another question. I'm just going to put it up on the screen again for you to see.
From Naomi Sene, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, Naomi. Good. Yeah, you just take it off. You're just taking it off from where I said you must have sense. You've identified who you are, but life gives you apples, which doesn't match what you've identified, but puts food on the table. I would recommend that you Google Ikigai. Ikigai is a philosophy by the Japanese, and I had to use that at a point in time to help determine. It's a philosophy around the intersection between what you're passionate about and how you pay your bills. To live on the straight and narrow, you have to think about naira, kobo, pounds, and your pounds and what's pounds, dollar and cent, pounds and pence. You have to think about those things. We must always, I ask now that passion is just one leg of the vehicle that will get you there. Understanding the context, understanding the actors in that context, understanding the state of being in that reality. You talked about my ILO project. I've seen so much money thrown at youth development like I've never seen in my adult life. But when you look at the outcomes, it doesn't tally. So how do we connect those dots? That is something that gets me up in the morning. And how do we, in connecting those dots, how do we ensure that the most numbers of youth still get served?
Wow. Thank you so much. We have another question. I'm trying to fit in as many questions as I can. We've got another question from John. So I'll just let you read it from your screen.
John, I'm doing research at the moment from a particular university. So this certificate system, this credentialism system, I made a discovery. I asked a staff of mine that works with me, who was the best graduating student in his class. He was unemployed for 2 years before we met. And when I engaged with him, we had a conversation on Friday. I said to him, I think that what is happening in Nigeria is that all of us are waiting for appointment, one way or the other. So at the undergraduate level, that appointment will happen when I present my paper. I will show them my paper. They will say that I have a 2-1, I have a first class, and they will take a position on me and give me an opportunity. But the countries that we want to be like, incidentally, the premise of giving you an opportunity is on having you having communicated the value of bringing some kind of putting some value addition on what it is that you are, who you are, putting a value addition on, either reduce cost, bring it, proximity, and bring it closer to you. The message in that environment is that I would make something easier, more efficient, more productive for you, and for that you will give me a fair wage. You give me a fair exchange. Is that how it is in Nigeria? No. And it's not that way because the system, from our post-colonial realities has reduced it to, and the incidental, the annoying thing, or the thing that we must fix, let me not call it, the thing that we must fix is that recruitment decisions are often not made on the premise of the certificate. They're made on the premise of behavioral interviews and assessment for competencies at the level of who you are. So the schooling system must facilitate that discovery earlier on. So that is the language that we should be facilitating from even primary school, secondary school. Our 6-3-4 system was supposed to do that. The countries want to be like the Germans. They have a philosophy that guides their education system called Bildung. The philosophy is that you're a whole human being. You want to create value in the world. At the point in time, you're working in an economic system, you're working in a labor market. We must fit you into where, so for those of you that are good at knowledge, we will strengthen you, the academic system will strengthen you, you will go into the professionals. For those of you that are good with your hands, because we are tactile, we're human beings, we're multifaceted, we will channel it, you will go into the, whatever you can do at the vocational level. It's not abnormal that we live in a country of so many people. And then people will say they still go and bring those who do tiles and those who do, because the system has not transitioned properly. So look beyond, I asked it at interviews, beyond these 2 pieces of paper, what have you identified that you can do? What can you do? There's a premise of capitalism, there's a premise of why organizations exist. And Maureen would confirm that in one of the first few classes when we were running the employability program is why organizations exist. And then you then are able to then tell why you are the best fit, because you are the doctor. You're the doctor. The employer is the patient. It's a misnomer that they're just helping you escape poverty. No, they want to create value. And then all of you is a ship. All of us are, there's a captain in that ship, you're a team member, or there's something that you're communicating at the level of the value that you can bring based on what you already have, incidentally. But the degree is just a signal that will talk about a portion of who you are, your knowledge base, your technical capability, that thing that you've taken time out to go and master. And I always ask that question of my HR friends, how true is the signal of that degree? We all know, unless we don't want to be honest. So which is why you have layers and layers and layers and layers of recruitment processes. Amara, am I not speaking?
You're right. Spot on.
Because we're still checking for who you are. We're still checking for, the thing in your history that would demonstrate to us that your proof of potential, your proof of performance, that thing that you've done in your previous life, that will give us confidence at a psychological level that when you come in, you will not be a recruitment error. You will not give us, you will not be what my boss used to call a non-regrettable loss. When you say you're going, it's okay, go and exit her. Why? And what makes for a non-regrettable loss? A person who has not self-identified, a person who doesn't understand, who hasn't sat with themselves, done homework with themselves. And what am I really good at? Okay, I'm very good at writing. Okay, I'm very good at talking. Okay, when people are looking for ideas, they're not sure what to do. I'm the one that I like to brainstorm. I can think. But the good thing is that if you don't know, I'm speaking to an audience now. If you're not sure, there's so many tools online called profile tests, career profile tests. Psychologists have done half of the work for us. Do one of those, because that is where I started my career journey. It was like a light bulb. It was like deliver. They told me volunteer work, social space, HR. And I immediately registered as CIPD. And I bought the book, HR Champion. And the journey started from that point on. And I haven't looked back. So that discovery process is very pivotal to maximizing your womanhood.
Fantastic. Wow, we wouldn't have said it any better. I want to ask a question.
So before you ask the question, I just want to say that what you're sharing is not just about women. I think a lot of men would benefit from this because issues around employment, maximizing potential, they are also relevant to men. So I would say if you're a wife here, if you're a sister, if you're a mother, and you know a man who would need some of these valid points, please share with them.
Okay, I want to ask, because someone is asking, what advice do you have for women whose husbands believe that their place is in the home? How will she find fulfillment without creating conflict in her home?
Do we still have such men in this 21st century?
I think we do.
Well, one of the things that, I discussed this with my best team, and both of us had to ask that, what is giving the man anxiety? What is creating the anxiety? I don't think that anyone is irrational to the point that you want to disenable another human being, unless, there's a problem. And that problem, I took some notes, in thinking about some of these things. That we don't marry, I don't know. What are his anxieties? What are his fears? What are his insecurities? How do you allay them? Is it that, maybe, a man comes to that decision either by a template that was existing before, or a language or a narrative that he inherited. What we now need to do, is now to demonstrate how within our own ecosystem it might not hold true. Because he has a theory in his head that if I let her go out, she'll be promiscuous, she'll lay about, she'll So you have to identify what is creating that fear. Now, or some men, which is why we should have done the homework before you marry. Some men don't want their wives to do anything, which is also a flaw. Some wives don't want to do anything, for the fact that but some men are keen on. I remember that my husband had a law and still does. One of us must always be home with the kids.
Sorry, you broke
One
up
of
for
us one of us must always be home with the kids. Can you hear me? Did I break up? Can you hear me? I hope it's not my internet.
Okay, fine. We can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
we
you now.
can.
We lost you for about.
Beg your pardon. I think that was Globe. Beg your pardon. Okay. So I said my husband has. So we have our own. In your ecosystem, you have your guidelines and your principles. The way Nigeria has a constitution, I've had a friend of mine, Barrister Akinlami, say, the way Nigeria has a constitution, there must be a constitution that guides your home. There's a way that things are done, which you should have engaged on, ideally. I call it our own vision statement, our own, our reason for being. So we're now a unit. I have those at a personal level, but at a system level now, father, mother, 4 children, 1 girl, 1 boy, and a set of twins. All of us are now our own small nation. So in that constitution, we know God bless daddy, oh God bless him. We know he does hard work and doesn't slack. So those issues as well, women also must be on the lookout for. The roles, the roles, kind of the different things that you do for each other. Beyond the romantic love, those love things are very good. But the make and break things are the everyday things. People have walked out of marriages because they weren't able to stimulate, or at the back of their mind, they had not even thought about certain realities and how to cope when they get into those realities. So our ability to also stimulate those for the woman who her husband doesn't want her to do anything, her first brief is to learn to understand why. And then you can ask ticking off the boxes. He's insecure. He's for my protection. Because think about matter, you can go out with that man and people will still hit on you. I had a mentor that called me a long time ago. I didn't understand what she was saying. She said, look, the higher you go, the fact that you have a ring on your finger is why some people will come after you. That is what she said. Life is also a game for people. It's a power game. It's a dynamic to that. And we also live in a world, let's not forget, that right now is increasingly getting darker and darker. So lines are getting blurred. So the thing that's going to anchor you is also back to your values, back to that what you've identified as your assignment. I don't want to sound too spiritual or too out of the ordinary or too ruling, but the truth about the matter is that engage. And if for a season you have to stoop to conquer, you have to do it. If your home is important to you, if your home is important to you, you're already in it. You might even be in a place where you think maybe I didn't do the baseline assessment well. I didn't engage well. I was in love, you don't make me fall. The love was overwhelming. Now you've now come into reality. What would make for your peace of mind? Because if the mental issues, my daughter recently did an internship at a psychiatric hospital. And to be honest, it opened another dimension to Nigeria to me that almost wounded my soul. Because mothers are carrying a lot. Mothers are carrying a lot. Mothers are carrying what they did not carry. Because of either a husband that walked out, a husband that is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So it's both sides. So for the woman who the husband has said, don't do it, what are his fears? And then what can you do, show and tell? If the kind of man that says he doesn't want you to go out, or you can negotiate for it, I can, if I go out, I can bring something to the table. And thank God there's now work from home options. There's nobody that says no to value. That's what I've seen in my little life, my little experience. Once somebody sees something is working, then the first one I will promote it for you. So if you are doing business, if you're doing business, for example, you are doing selling and buying from the house, and the man sees that this month you didn't ask for money for soup. Everybody wants an easy. Nobody wants to kill themselves.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So it's to how you showcase the value of why you have to go out, and how you've also demonstrated. I don't make mistakes in marriage, yes, which is why I thank God, we forgive each other. All those kind of things balance out. But the most important thing is For the singles, I'm begging you. I think Pastor Paul wrote a book. Pastor Paul kind of blessed memory wrote a book. 165 questions to ask before you marry. I'm sure this platform is also doing fantastic work. We will not get it. There's no science to it. There's a God dimension to it. God leading you and all of that. But all of these questions you can try to curate before you get into it. And for those of us who are already in it, you then have to ask yourself, how am I digging myself out of this? I need to try. My mental well-being is important. The kids are important. I need to. And I have one of my closest friends. She's one of the most independent women that I know. I should tell you, Detoun, I agreed with my husband up front that my financial independence was non-negotiable because she saw her parents divorce and her mother left with nothing because the mother was training the children as my husband is working, let me train the children. By the time things went south, the mother was left with nothing. But she has gotten to the place now, she has built her mother a house. But she took the lesson from that day and made up her mind that financial independence. So when she met her husband, she had to tell him, please, I'm not going to negotiate my financial independence. They have joint assets and they have the ones that are in her name. They're having assets and being financially literate, thriving financially, it doesn't have gender bias. It doesn't have gender bias. It's just the cultural limitation of past. But thank God the world has moved on. I see a lot of young people, I see a lot of young people doing fantastic work at the level of financial literacy. So that woman should get financially literate and then negotiate her way out of that condition. It is a condition. And you might need professional help and professional therapy as well. At a point, so if the man gets professional help, both of them go and sit with, get professional help, or also the church, if they, get counseling to allay. But I mean, I go to the fountain of Righteousness, and a pastor is fantastic at letting us know that a man's pride is investing.
Your voice.
Woman.
Okay, your sound was breaking.
Oh, sorry.
Your sound was breaking a bit.
I think my pastor teaches us, I come from where we are taught that a man's pride is investing in his woman. That is his assignment too. And I see that, happening with Ogwo Gospel and as well. So.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I think if we start explaining some of the things you've said today, we won't leave here. So I'll just go straight to the next question, because as you're talking, some women will feel, I wish I'm in that place where I can move it to the next level. Yeah. Maybe because of what they've gone through in the past. And so someone is asking, how would a woman who has lost confidence in herself as a result of different negative experiences regain her confidence and relaunch herself?
Okay. I mean, I've been in that relaunch place, and I think that one major tool for relaunching yourself is knowledge. It's knowledge. It's learning. It's putting on a light bulb. So also, as I said, there are a lot of problems in the world, and as much as there are problems, there's a lot of knowledge in the world. So one way to reinvent yourself is, first of all, do that self-analysis that I mentioned. There's so many tools available online, that will enable you to, do a that assessment. And then what you can then do at the level of knowledge, acquired knowledge. I love learning. I believe that learning, and not only learning, reflective learning to learning what you learn, unlearning as well. I was like this before, I might be rubbing off people, a particular way. So learning about our world, finding our place in the world, and supporting the kind of support system I talked about it earlier on. So if you've lost confidence in yourself, surround yourself with positive people, on a daily basis. Just know that on a daily basis, give yourself that, boost your own confidence by, the choices that you make on a day-to-day basis. And recognize, celebrate yourself. My husband, God bless him, is not too far from me, always teaches me, if nobody praises you, praise yourself. He always tells me that nobody praises you. He says like a lizard, you jump from the top to the high place, and then a lizard will go, looks around, nobody, what does he do? He gives himself. So you've lost confidence because, I think I was delivered from looking for the approval of men a long time ago, because it took a divine encounter. Say, look, the reason why you're having this problem is because you're looking for approval in the wrong places. If you're able to go to bed knowing you have my approval, your journey is not halfway done. Then you just continue to put one foot after the other. So support yourself with positive people. I talked about the phoenix. Please go and Google the word phoenix. It's something that burns out and then takes, rises again based on its own strength and based on what was done before. Look for what is good on the inside of you. Continuous enhancement, self-enhancement. One day after the other, one step after the other. It's not easy. I'm not going to rose color it and say it's easy. A solid network of family, a solid network of good friends, emotional and mental support, positive affirmation. Let me tell you one thing I do. Stand in front of a mirror and talk to yourself. I am valuable. I was placed on this earth for such a time as this. There's something that I can contribute, even if I don't know what it is in totality. But there's a gift that I carry. And as grace abounds, that gift will be birthed to its maximum capacity. Do you feel like saying it every day? No. But then there's also, but I'm tired, I'm done. Yes, there'll be days like that. But then we keep going. We move, as we say in, So, so don't be ashamed of your scars. Everyone is going through something. I made a decision a long time ago because I've had the gift of access by virtue of my background or by virtue of my parents. I've had the gift of access to people that are, that we all look up to. And I've seen that all of us are going through. We're just carrying it differently. We're all going through. We're just balancing it in different ways. But the grace that you need to carry yours will come when you're also able to go back into your closet and do the necessary work. Take a list of your past successes. Remember your good characteristics. Because you see, and then that thing in your head, that bad, what they call the bad negative committee, you are going to do a lot of work. The biggest work is in shutting down that negative committee. That's where sometimes the majority of them. And then the cues you're taking from news, the cues you're taking from social media, because some people you don't have to follow if it's putting you under pressure. If it's putting you under pressure, must you go to that page? Do you understand? Run your race. Do you understand? Be able to deal with your humanity, be able to deal with your vulnerabilities. If something moves on the inside of you when somebody is successful, you should also be able to face it and say, this is envy, and deal with it, get rid of that thing because it will destroy you. You must be able to celebrate the successes of other people. That is one fundamental thing. One of my closest, a pastor from when I was a school pastor from Chapman. And I know today you talk about the fact that always have it at the back of your mind that all things will work together for your good. Those things that haven't worked, some of us have histories of abuse, some of us have histories of disadvantage, some of us have backgrounds that are not working for us, are still not working. Do you understand? But we also are in a world where principles work, these things work, your principles work for people. But let's look at Oprah Winfrey. Yes, she might be in a different environment, a more enabling environment. Maybe we are here at this time to also contribute to a more enabling environment. What are we learning? How does it work? Who are we engaging with? This approval addiction, believe me, you don't. And let me say something about, okay, so that was one question that I'm not sure we've gotten there yet. But I hope, and then read. For people of faith, read what does the word say about you? That was from Bucky. What does the word say about you? Have you been, you'll come to me during lockdown. But I've read the Bible for a long time, but I hadn't identified myself inside. So you know what I did? I went in there and brought out who I am again. I started playing it back to myself. I gave my life when I was 13 years old. Wow. Do you understand? Wow. So sometimes we must face this truth, but sometimes we forget. Yeah. We're on the journey of things must happen, kids here, husband must be happy. I'm going to talk to a long time, I'm going to throw this out. As a woman, you do everything. You must understand. And what does she call this? You must deliver as I want you. It's traditional, but it is a success criteria. I hope I'm, for the women that are in the spirit. Because you can have a long day or you might do all of those things, but every time you must deliver on point. Because that is part of your ministry.
All right. Amazing. We have a question here. A question following up from what you said initially. I'll just show you so that you can probably just read the question.
Okay, is it the one about what would you do when the woman is financially independent and the man doesn't see the need to be involved unless she asks.
Absolutely.
I would think that there's a communication challenge there somewhere. And let me tell you the truth. There's a way that your success can rub off on people that you're totally blind to. And you owe it to yourself. You're responsible for managing that messaging as well. You can't oppress people with your success in this environment. So you can't control for people's green-eyedness, so to say. But you must be aware of humanity enough and people's incentives and what drives humanity. You must understand what drives people. You understand? I think I read it on, I'm not sure if it was on Udo Konjo's wall, last year, last year, she took somebody to a new house, and the way the person reacted, and the occurred what I was praying today, there was a king in the Bible that took somebody into their property and showed that property around, and they got into trouble for it. Who was that again? It was a king, and they were raided. Who was that? There was somebody in the Bible who brought a queen. Was it Queen of Sheba? I don't remember. Was it? You came and just, so you have to, your financial independence. I don't subscribe to being secretive. I don't subscribe to hiding. It's already a signal. I don't want. The dysfunction in that relationship is already apparent. So if we want to reduce this dysfunction, or to even have a feel that we're at least in an okay relationship, communication and how we speak to one another is key. And asking, even God said that we should ask you. You receive not because you don't ask. My sweetheart, I maybe notice. I know that men like me. I cannot tell my husband, I know they like order. They want to think. They want to process. They want, they need to plan. Now, most majority of men want to plan. They don't just come and say, I want to do this now. So that language, that conversation, in the next 3 months, Shola's school fees is going to be due. I have, for somebody, because of the church I go to as well, I've heard it said before that the person who is financially dependent, that's who God knew could handle finances better. It wasn't by cultural or by gender bias that God gave that couple, gave the woman the most. God just felt in this union, this is the one that can handle money better. And God gave it to that one. So we always have this argument, my money, her money, our money. We all have those things. But in a union, we must be there to help one another. And incidentally, it's us women that are called into the help. And sometimes we have to help our men to help them. I said that conversation with my husband yesterday that, there's a project he's working on. I said to him, I think that I can help you. Even though I'm not an architect, but I said, how will you do it? I said, just show me how to do it. Because I've been called and you must know how to maximize the help that you've been given.
Fantastic. Wow. Well, we have another question. Let me just probably pull it up. But I think that there's a whole lot I'm gleaning from this whole conversation today. Someone is asking, how would a woman who has lost her confidence in herself, what advice would you give to singles who focus on getting married to a rich guy rather than someone who would help them maximize their womanhood?
I would say that is mission creep already. It's what I call mission creep. Having identified the mission that you want to be a woman or who wants to maximize our womanhood, it will be going back to say that unless a man, why do you not want to be a rich woman? That's the question. That will complement an equally rich man. So a valuable woman is you're adding. Remember I talked about hunters and family. Remember I talked about that earlier on. So a woman that is looking for a man to hammer, just and let me keep it real. Money stops nonsense, as they say. So a good background, a good, mommy's a rich voice, having that it helps. We all can do with being Bill Gates' daughter-in-law. Do you understand? But in reality, in reality, I remember that I met my husband in university. I met him in university. I remember people were saying, I remember my father said, argued with me. I said, Daddy, I know that is not fashionable in this world. The world has moved. I said, I see potential. And I'm glad, in the days I say, I'm glad that blind faith panned out. But I know that for it to pan out, there's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of sacrifice. There was a lot of the days of Iskani. The days of also looking at my own parents in the eye and saying, this is what I chose. This is what I want. You know? So and then being able to set the boundaries. There's a lot of times women and the most fundamental thing for me is, that the good book says in First Timothy, I think it's 6:10, that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And that some people eager for money, they wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Another version says with many sorrows. Another version says with many pangs. So that should not be. I've set the baseline. Let me keep it real. Money is good. It answers a lot of things. It stops nonsense. So for one who has that pedigree and has it, why not? But in fact, it took my husband to correct me once. We have a set of twins, a boy and a girl. So one day my girl made a statement. So I was like, now wow, first lady. My husband said, why first lady? Why not president? My husband said, why not? So, and immediately I caught myself. I said, I'm sorry. Why not president? So, and the good thing about being a woman in this time is that we have lauded the fact that what a man can do, a woman can. Look at, there's a video going around of women leading many countries. I remember sending it to one group. I said, we're coming. So we must also, and I say this to all of us who are mothers, as we're bringing up the boys and we're giving them that prestige position, that prestige voice, we must be giving our girls that prestige position, that voice. There's things that we should not fall into those cultural gaps. These are the things that only boys do. My boys wash pepper. They go and grind pepper. Because I want them also to be able to support their spouse when they get there. Even though in their world, they tell me that they will use plum tomatoes and things like that. But to answer the question, please don't put the cat before the horse. You owe it to yourself to live to your highest potential. A man that is rich is an enabler, is a plus. But if that is an end in itself, once he's rich, and then I will fold my hands. Don't forget that even the richest men, let's think about it. The richest men, if you go and do a survey of some of the richest men in the world, I think it was Buki that told me this. They look at the kind of women that they surround themselves with. Apart from the ones that they use for toys, look at they have women around them that have a track of that not someone that's going to be a burden to them, not someone that's going to exploit them. So it's good to have a rich man, but it's not a must-have. You need a man that is responsible, a man that provides, a man that is there for you, a man that will rub your back, that has your back. All of those other things, you are running your own race, you are doing your own hustle, and you're also, because there's a sense of pride in your own money. You put a sense of pride in, I did this work, I brought X to the table. You'll be respected more. You understand? What is wrong with just one day say, honey, send me your account number and transfer money to him? What is wrong with that? Must you always be a taker? I know it's not conventional. I know it's not. My husband will say, hey, all that money you owe me, but we met it up. That's why I say I met it up in kind.
Wow. This has been amazing. It's been amazing. I don't know. We've actually run out of time now, and I'm just craving with our audience just for a couple of minutes, and then we have two events or activities before we wrap up. But before we round up your session, please, do you have any last words for the women out there listening to us today? What would you tell them as a final note?
I could. So the part of the stream I'm in, I can't see names and I can't see faces, but I just say that you're enough and you can do it. You're enough and you can do it. If that's all you say to yourself, you can do it. I've seen under this heavens as well. I've had the privilege of meeting presidents, even
Sorry, we missed you there. It was waffling a bit. We didn't get what you said.
I said that we're all becoming. We're all becoming, and you can do it. Don't. You're not the one that should dump down on yourself. If anybody else does it, you shouldn't do it to yourself.
Wow. Amazing.
Thank you so much for this time that you've provided for us to learn a lot. And I know it's not just the women who have learned. There are men out here who have also learned. One of the men asked you a question. So it's a broad session that you have presented today.
Okay. Just one more question.
Okay,
someone is asking, how did you get to the top?
I'm not at the top yet too. How do you get to the top? I think that there was a point in my career that it was almost like, it's running. It's running. The network, I'm not at the top yet too. All work in progress, but I think it's setting goals, setting definitive goals at the beginning of every year, or even, setting goals, in 3 months. And not all the time that I even hit all my goals. Let me be honest. Sometimes, at some point, you know how it is in January, you're looking at your goals every day. You're looking at the 8 spheres of your life: education, health, family, you do relationships, all those things. Sometimes we drop off the wagon. But it's to also have that consciousness that you're here, you're carrying something, and you're here to deliver. And that the most important thing is that one day you're going to give account. That keeps me on my toes. That one day, and we don't know when, the way the world is now, touch and go. So it's to keep going. I have a mentor that always says she wants to die empty. And that also is quite inspiring to say, look, no excuses, to keep going.
Wow, thank you so much for your time. Obviously, I would say that our participants will want to have you another time. Maybe we'll have to have that conversation backstage. So thank you for your time.
I admire two of you. Thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you as well, Mom. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. And thank you, everyone.
I'm sure they are all there, and everyone is.
Yeah. So before we let her go, please, if you have any comment to share or to say thank you for our guest, can you put the comment in the comment section? I'm sure she would love to read from you.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you find?
It's a new life, it's a new day, a new beginning, everything's going my way. I can take the moon and I can even catch a falling star. I've gone around like the wind, making my dreams come to life. I believe I can be anything I wanna be. Oh, everything I wanna be. I believe I can be anything I wanna be. Oh, everything I wanna be. I've got freedom, I've got hope, I've got a new beginning and everything that I want. Nothing's gonna ever stop me, nothing's gonna bring me down. Yeah, I'm gonna run like the wind, making my dreams come to life. I believe I can be anything I wanna be. Oh, everything I wanna be. I believe that I can be anything I wanna be. Everything. Yeah. It's a new life, it's a new day, a new beginning, everything's going my way. It's a new life, it's a new day, a new beginning, everything's going my way. Everything's going my way.
Wow. What an amazing session we've had today.
Awesome. That was awesome.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to say to you all, have you been challenged or inspired by today's events? But you're wondering, how can I take a step further? Maybe you need guidance, or maybe you need support to translate this information or knowledge that you have received today into practice. Do you want to create tangible results in your finance, your career, your education, or even your relationship?
In a nutshell, you have this burning desire to maximize your womanhood. We have designed a 4-week training program in the area of talent and career development, relationship competence development, and other person-centered training programs that could be tailored to your specific needs.
In the course of this training session, we will expose you to a plethora of professionals who will guide and support you to make the transition that you desire. We will also connect you with successful men and women who will be happy to mentor you. Please send your information via the link in the comment section, or preferably on the screen. You would see our information. Please do hit us an email, let us know, and then we will be in touch with you.
That is, if you are really, really interested in taking it to the next level.
We hope to hear from you.
I just want to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you for commenting, for engaging, and for being part of this wonderful program, Maximizing Your Womanhood. We want to thank our guests. We want to thank Tara, Detoun, Ogwo, and all the women and men as well who contributed to today's event. Thank you very much.
We also want to, again, invite you to join our community. So please, if you are new here and you haven't quite engaged with us before now, please subscribe to our channel and let us know, join the community, join the conversations that we would have as we carry on.
And we have some content out there that you can have a look at
and benefit from.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.